This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, and welcome to the Central Coast Writers Conference webinar with Eldonna Edwards and Terry Baez. And we're going to be talking about personal critique sessions. We're going to refer to them as PCSs in this, and it's one of the most wonderful things that our conference gives you. Everybody gets it with their registration, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. So Eldonna and I decided to do this to kind of clear up any questions that anybody has and share all the information. So Eldonna, tell us a little bit about you.
About me or about the PCSs?
You first.
Oh, me. Oh, I get to talk about me?
Just talk about your books then.
Oh, okay. Well, no. I love this conference. As you know, I started out as a volunteer, and anybody who's listened in on us knows that I love talking about how I went from a volunteer to a published author with an agent and a contract with a New York publisher. And I actually started, my first PCS was with Jordan Rosenfeld.
Really?
You knew that, yeah. And I can't remember if it was the book that I ended up selling, but she just gave me such great feedback. So I love that now I'm sitting in those chairs doing the feedback with people, because I know what really helped me. So yeah, I'm a local author. I have 2 novels and a memoir. My novels are both coming of age novels. This, I know, is set in the Midwest in the 1960s and features a clairvoyant preacher's daughter who comes of age in a very culturally changing time, and her father forbids her to use her uncanny gifts of clairvoyance. So she has to kind of choose whether to save her mother or obey her father. And the second one is also coming of age, set in the commune in Northern California. And then my memoir follows my kidney donation to an unknown recipient. So and I'm working on the next book.
You're what we call a unicorn, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm 80,000. I hit 80,000 words on my work in progress 2 days ago. So yay.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. All right. So so when you first sign up with the conference, you're able to go through and pick your classes, and then you're also able to go and pick who you get to do the PCS with. So the PCS is a 15-minute interval, one-on-one, sitting across a little tiny desk, where the instructor reads 2 to 3 pages of your work in progress and then gives feedback. Correct? Add to that.
Exactly. And this year, I think I just saw where you can fill out a form and actually upload your pages ahead of the conference. Am I correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And the link is right here in the chat section. So if you go to the chat section, then you can pick your PCS, and then you can upload. Once you've picked who you're going to be with and the time you're going to be with it, then you can upload your 2 to 3 pages if it's a novel, and then 10 pages if it's a script.
Or a memoir. It's also in the same as a novel, correct?
Right. Yeah. Right, so it's like, it's 40 lines if it's a poem, 2 to 3 double-spaced pages if it is a novel, memoir, anything.
Longer work.
Longer work.
You really should take advantage of that, because if your instructor has time to look over your work ahead of time, then you're not spending your very short 15 minutes. You've got 15 minutes to discuss this and learn and get advice and get encouragement. And if your instructor is spending part of that time reading it, that kind of takes away from your time. So do upload ahead of time, and so the instructor has a chance.
But don't stress if you can't, if you're technically challenged. So when you register in the morning, you'll get your registration, and then you'll see the PCS table. There are harried looking group of angels over there that organize this chaos that is the private critique sessions. So if you just bring it that morning, you can walk over, hand it to them, check in, tell them you're there. They'll give you the time, and then you can leave it there, so that most of the staff has some time during the day to read it.
Absolutely. It's fine either way. and it's not about, I always encourage people not to turn in their first draft. Polish your work before you send it to us, because you want to get the best advice as you can from your instructor. So work on that piece, and then we're going to help you make it even better.
Yeah, so working on it means spell check it. It means go through and find all the superfluous words like so, also, very,
Just,
really, just.
That's mine, just.
I start every sentence with so, and I just let myself write it. And then when the first draft is done, I just go a find and replace. So you put find so, and you replace it with just a space, and then it takes them all out of the manuscript.
Isn't that wonderful? What did we do without our software?
I don't know. I wouldn't have wrote so it before everything. So yeah, so clean up the language. Dove asked, what's the best pages to bring? Should it be the beginning? I always tell people bring your best 2 pages.
I like to see the beginning, because I'm all about the hook. And that's what actually one of the classes, the workshops that I'm teaching. I like to see the opening, because if we can get the writer to really focus in on that opening to their work, that's just me. I prefer to see the very opening of their. It just kind of gives me a feeling for their voice, because at the beginning of the work, you're going to want to know what point of view is this the right point of view? Should I be in present tense, past tense, first person, third person? How is the voice? Is the voice strong? There's all kinds of things you can catch right at the beginning, rather than having to go all the way back and start over. So.
And then, so what we do is we have the whole staff sorted under genres. So explain genres to the new writers out there.
Your genre is think about the readers that you're looking for your work. Are you looking for people who enjoy romance, or you write cozy mystery, memoir? I write coming of age, but that's considered literary fiction. Young adult. There's all these different genres, and it's really good to know where your work fits, because you're also going to need that later on, because if you're looking for an agent, for example, certain agents are going to represent different genres, and so you're going to waste a lot of time if you're querying agents who don't even represent your genre. So it's good to know where your work fits.
And we do have several agents, and we do have several publishers there at the conference that are looking to acquire work. So if you are writing, I know Chantel is acquiring for underserved authors in the mystery genre. So women, people of color. So she's looking, the publishing print that she works for now is looking specifically for that. I know Jonathan is looking for an anthology, and it's horror, but it's weird horror. Hi, Megan. And then, Jason Polis is also looking for something. So the best thing that you can do is when you go on the CentralCoastWritersConference.com website, they have the biographies of everybody who's teaching. There's 40 of them, so there's a lot to choose from. Not everybody is doing PCSs. It's a voluntary thing that my staff does out of the kindness of their heart. Some writers don't believe that they have the right to tell anybody what to do, so they opt out of it. But go through there and see what they've written, or because you can see on the agents what kind of work they represent. You can see with the publishers what they're specifically looking for. So in order to sit down, I mean, anybody can sit down with anybody, but I wouldn't sit down with an agent until you're pretty far along, unless you have about 3/4 of your book done. I would not sit with an agent yet. I would sit with people like Eldonna, Catherine Jones, Jordan. Jordan's the one that got both of us writing. She's a freaking genius. And work on the beginnings of your writing, and then once you have the book nearly done or almost done, then that's the time to meet with an agent. Don't be preemptive, because while Eldonna and Jordan and Catherine are kind and nurturing and nice, the agents are business people and they might not be so nice.
And you only get one shot.
Exactly.
Quite often, you know.
I did that in the beginning when I think I was starting to write, I write culinary erotica. So just gonna throw that out there, among other things. But the first time, hi Colleen, she's a newbie and she's got a ton of questions. So we're super glad she's here.
Hi Colleen.
Hi Colleen, this is what I look like. She's so cute. She's like, I'm bothering you with a lot of questions. If you drink a specific beverage, can I bring you some to the conference? I'm like, oh yes, very much drinking wine. Anyway, so I showed an earlier draft of Consumed to an agent, and it was not ready. It was not even close to ready. I think I went 67 drafts on that novel. And after I did that, there was no way that agent would touch me. So
somebody else has their mic on.
Say that again. I got it off.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you.
Whoops. Hang on. I accidentally muted you. Okay, say that again.
Well, I was just repeating like that your story is very typical of a newbie, and we were all newbies. We all started the same place where
nobody came out of the home writing.
Exactly. You, Terry, I know you talk sometimes about feeling like an imposter with the first time you went to the conference, like I'm not a writer, I don't belong here, you know. We all had these emotions. If you're overconfident when you walk in with a first draft, those are the ones I worry about. You know, because we all started where you are, and the PCSs are not an attempt to criticize your writing. We're going to point out your strengths. We're going to say this is where you really getting it, and here's where you could improve it. We want you to excel. We want you to do better. So when a lot of people think about critique and they think in a negative connotation as a derogatory kind of, oh, they're going to judge me. We're not judging you. We're just critiquing your pages. It's not about you. It's about the work in front of us.
Yeah. So and everybody is very gentle and very kind. The script writers say fuck a lot, but that's because they're script writers. But and more often than not, everybody is super, super, super kind. Jonathan Mayberry actually, when he gets to the conference, he goes through and he figures out when his free time is, and he signs up for more. He'll take more PCSs. So I only have everybody commit to 2 hours of it, 1 hour on Friday and 1 hour on Saturday, but a lot of them will add to it. And then say you really want a PCS with a certain person, but you can't get in, then you come up to me and then I go to them and I put you together at lunch and you do kind of a mini PCS there. By hands down, our sweetest, most gentlest guy is Peter Dunn. He puts his heart and soul into reading these things, and he's in studying them before he goes out. So last year I was driving the cart back and forth, and I picked up a gentleman and that's the other thing. There's carts sitting outside. You will have to leave your classrooms to go to a PCS. There's no free time. So you will have to get out and walk out on a classroom to go to the PCS. So I picked this guy up. And he was an older gentleman, well, my age, but he was visibly shaking. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he goes, I'm going to my first PCS. And he goes, yeah, and I'm like, it'll be fine. Who do you have? And he goes, Peter Dunn. I go, Peter, he's a tough one. He's going to be so rough.
Oh my God, Terry.
After he found me and he goes, you're just me. Like, yes, I am.
I can't believe
Peter goes, yeah, I know. Peter comes up and goes, did you tell somebody I'm rough? I'm like, I was joking. So yeah, so if you bring your PCS with you the day, or you can upload it on the Google Forms doc that's inside the chat. If you pull down chat. It's in there. You just click on that and you can pick your time and upload your work. Bring 2 copies of it. Keep one for you and then give one to, so if you have uploaded one, bring it anyway, because you're going to want to take notes on it, because they'll keep it. And then you walk up to PCS, say you're in the beginning, register, you're there. You can do another one. So let's say you wanted to go with Eldonna and Peter. Then you can buy another one. You can buy another one right there. They're $10 if there's any left. And then when it's time, come back to the table, and you're like 5 minutes before your PCS is all you need. And you sit down, and then somebody will walk you to the person that because you're not going to know what they look like unless you've taken a class with them already. So we have volunteers that will walk you, sit you down, and then begin it. And then they are also the same people that tell you you're out of time and you got to hit the road, because if we get stacked up or if anybody runs long, then Megan comes in and shoots people because she's in charge of the volunteers. So tell us some examples of PCSs you've done, Eldonna.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know you were going to ask that question. And
all right.
my memory, they start to kind of blur together, but I do remember last year I did one. I can't say no to people. I have a hard time saying no to people. So I end up having email conversations quite often with people, like 15 minutes is not enough. And I will just say, here's my email. Let's keep this conversation going. So I had a couple of people last year who were dealing with grief, some really difficult losses, and they were writing memoir. And I got to tell you that, people think, wow, this is for me, but it's not just for them. You have no idea what you bring to us by sharing your stories, and it's really an honor and a privilege to read your work and have the opportunity to put our little input and advice and make notes for you and things to look at.
I think most of you follow up with almost everybody. I know Peter does.
Yeah.
I think most of you do. And then, so if it's a longer work or a novel, memoir, nonfiction, any of that stuff, it's 2 to 3 pages double spaced. And that's how you should turn your manuscript in. So the sooner you put it on 2 to 3 pages, the better. Plus it looks bigger when you print it on the table.
And for old eyes, it's easier to read.
Yeah.
And make notes in the margin. If you go, you think, oh, I want to get more in, so I'm going to make these big margins, and that does, leave us room to make notes in the margins as well for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then if it's poetry, you're going to bring 40 lines of poem. We have several really good poetry teachers. In fact, the poet laureate of Santa Barbara County is going to be there. She's fantastic. And then if it's a screenplay, it's 10 pages in a screenplay format. So basically a screenplay format is 1 minute per page. So you're showing them 10 minutes of your screenplay. On a screenplay, it's super important that you give them the open, because nobody stays for a movie. People will give a little bit of leeway with books, but with movies, if it's not butt stuck in the seat, then it's not going to go anywhere. So, people like Doug Richardson and Chantel and Ricky Roxburgh and Donald Hewitt can give you just amazing advice on how to make your opening scene stronger. And that's only 1 or 2 pages. So it's awesome.
And I love that these workshops, the screen, you can learn a lot as a novelist by going to a screenwriter workshop and vice versa. Because it's all about story. It's all about that emotional narrative and the arc that you get people sucked in emotionally, whether it's screenplay. So or poetry. You can learn a lot by checking out the other different. Maybe you're a novelist, but check out poetry or check out screenwriting, check out memoir, because you can learn a lot about storytelling from any of those workshops.
I always take a poetry class because the poets say in 3 words what takes us 2 paragraphs to say.
Yeah.
And I'm I'm super windy on the page. So it made my writing so much stronger by taking poetry classes, because you pay attention and you have an absence of extra words. So Lorianne Bossler says that she's terrified. She's always been a poet because she's terrified of the left hand of the page. How anybody ever gets all the way to the left end of the page just makes her mind crumble.
Oh, interesting.
I know.
A lot of people are afraid of the first page. I'm one of those people that I love that first page. It's the middles that suck.
The big droopy middle. So then other things that you should do during your private critique session is listen. With writers, I know it's personal, because, you know, no matter what you've written, even if it's a mystery on Mars, it's still personal. It's still something that you created, and it's yours, and it's your baby, and you'll feel the need to defend it. I do. But don't do it in this situation. You can do it by yourself, but at this point you need to just listen, because everybody who's doing a private critique session is a very far along in their career, and they've gone through all of this, and they wouldn't be saying just ridiculous situations. We had a gentleman get very mad last year because he didn't like the feedback he got on the private critique session, and he came to me and said they're wrong, and I'm like, and they may be, so just take it to someone else, you know. My husband just walked in.
It's very subjective. You know, we all come with our own agenda and the things we like, and hi Gary, and we all bring, there's no way to not bring some of that. We try not to. We try to be objective, but you know, it is subjective. So something that I say might not resonate with you. However, if it pisses you off, I'm probably right, because I know when somebody tells me something and I'm like, oh, you're so wrong, and then I go back and Brer is my editor, and sometimes I'll get really defensive, and I'm like, I'm keeping what I wrote, and then I'll go back the second time, I'm like, dang it, he was right. And it's usually about tightening.
It's usually about what?
A tightening.
Oh,
because you hear about Stephen King, I think it was, talks about killing your darlings, and we get very attached to our words and like, oh, this is wonderful, I want to keep it in there, but it needs to be tighter.
When I teach a writing class, that's the first thing I tell people is about the darlings. It's like, find the sentence that you love the most in this chapter, on that paragraph, whatever. Because I used to do this with my reviews, because every week I had a review due, and it would be 5,000 words to start, and I had to whittle it down to 1,500 words. And then I'd whittle to about 2,000, and I'm like, okay, which is the part I like the best? And it felt like chopping off a finger to take that off. In fact, I have a folder on my computer that's just darlings, because I'm so convinced I'm going to use them somewhere else. And I would take out that sentence or that paragraph that was so dear to me, and it made it strong every single time with no exceptions.
Most writers have that file, but what I find too is that quite often the story doesn't start where you think it does.
Right.
So most of those darlings are right at the beginning. You're telling the story before you get to the story. You're telling backstory, you're doing flashbacks, or you're doing a prologue, and you can just, throw that out and start where the actual story itself begins. And that's one of the things I work really hard to help people see in the private critique sessions.
So the second thing you should do is take notes. You're going to be nervous. You've just walked out of a class. You're sitting with someone famous. You're going to be like, some people will even let you run video on your phone because it's only 15 minutes. Ask first, don't just video people. But take notes, because you'll forget afterwards, because for 3 days we're going to fill your head with writing stuff, and some of the best stuff will come from these private critique sessions, so take notes. Eldonna said, kill your darlings. So I'm going home to kill my darlings. And then the other thing is be prepared to ask questions. Know what it is you want. Exactly. One of our friends had for a big time, she was having a crisis with her genre. She wasn't sure where she was. And it did kind of stall her writing, because she wasn't sure if she was young adult, or if it was just an adult thing about kids. And so one year that was her question. What do you see this genre? And when she didn't get the answer she wanted from the first person, then she went to the second, and she saw 4 people, and all 4 of them had different answers. So, you know, it's ultimately up to you. Colleen is asking, should we make the submissions in large print? No, we all have glasses. 12 point is good. Because we're all good.
For me, it's like a dozen from the dollar store, always at hand.
Me too. And they all go to one drawer. Like I have 15, and then all of a sudden I can't find any, but they're like either all in my purse or all in my writing drawer or in the kitchen cabinet. They like have little conventions at night and the glasses get together.
I know. And my thing was, you know, I did massage therapy for 25 years. So all of mine had smudgy smudges on the, like from the cream, the massage cream or the massage oil. But I retired. I quit my day job, as you know, so I'm not doing that anymore. And they're still all smudged, so I can't blame it on that anymore.
You're just effervescent, and it gets on your glasses.
Effervescent. I like that. I'll take it.
So, and like you said, bring different things. So like if you want to dabble in writing a poem and you want to meet with one of the poets, you can do that. And if you want, you know, you finished a novel and you want to have that looked at, you can take that to a novelist. It doesn't have to be the same thing. You can, you know, lots of people do lots of different things. And if you're thinking about, you know, and sometimes you can do something like just sit down with, say, Doug Richardson, who wrote Bad Boys, Die Hard, Hostage, all sorts of shoot 'em up stuff. So he's that kind of guy, right? He'll even meet with you on just, well, what do you think about the idea of this? And he'll actually go through and kind of boil it down to, well, it would work if you did this, or it might not work if you did that. And because he's worked in Hollywood now for 20 plus years, and he's a working scriptwriter all the time.
It's amazing the talent that you bring to the conference, Terry.
Thank you. It's the wine.
Is it the wine? Is it the wine? Well, I think it's your effervescence as well. We have a wonderful reputation as being, and also not just don't believe just us, was voted best in the West by the Writer magazine.
I haven't said that in a day.
I can't believe you said $10. These used to be $25. I thought prices go up, not down. What a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, we used to charge for them, but then we decided to make it part of the conference. We did the same thing with making the lunches part of the conference because I can't not feed people. It was stupid because people wouldn't buy lunches, and they'd be like kind of standing around. I'm like, come on, just go eat. Quest is like, if you're gonna feed everybody, just put it part of the price. I'm like, okay. So yeah, so
and it's still a bargain.
It is. It is a screen bargain.
People can't believe it when I tell them how the price.
Yeah, 3 days, $300. It's pretty amazing.
It really is.
And then you become part of our little world. And you know, I have 10 people now that I can point to in my 5 years that have gone from conference attendee to best-selling author, screenwriter, poet, whatever. And I'm pretty proud of that. And a lot still coming back. And everybody is, you know, is not, don't be afraid of the private critique sessions. They really aren't that hard. You're kind of, and you're in a room where everybody's being critiqued at the same time. So it's just kind of you huddled with this one person, but
it's
you're not like,
dating.
Right. But you're not alone in a room with them. So it's a little less intimidating, but, I find that once somebody tries it for the first time, then they're like, I need more. I need more. I'm like, okay, go talk to them. Sign up for some more. Any other questions we have down there? Megan, what am I missing? This is your department. Megan says that she won't shoot, but she'll give you a strong nudge. The line for the PCS in the morning, Friday morning, will be long. But they're efficient. Cool thing about Friday morning is we kind of start a little bit later, and then we have a keynote, and then after the keynote we go for lunch and book signing. So the morning is kind of a mellow time. It's not like hit the ground running. So if you walk in and you register and the line's long, go do something else. Go to the bookstore, go talk to all the vendors. We have editors there. We have all sorts of different writing type of people there to help you.
And I know that a lot of writers are introverts, and they're nervous about the social aspect of the conference. From every attendee there and every staff member there is there because they want to be there and they want to interact with you. They're feeling the same way. So just sit next to somebody you don't know and just ask them, you know, what are you writing? What are you working on? Everybody likes to talk about their writing.
Right. And it is on your name tag, your genre. So when you fill out your registration, you'll say, I'm a screenwriter, I'm not that. So Colleen said, will you have PCS signups on Thursday? No, Thursday is about master classes where everybody is in with their master class, and I leave them. I'm the only one that comes in and out. I bring food, so they let me in. Thursday is just about those 20 people, or however many in the class, there's no more than 20, gelling as a group and working hard to, from the very beginning, establish a trust and a safe place for the writers to write, share, edit, talk about stuff. And then we go straight to wine and food, and then the opening keynote, which is the creativity under pressure, which is going to be fabulously funny. So Thursday's a different kind of day. The PCS is just run on Friday and Saturday. All right, Megan says, this is from Megan, please, please, please try to sign up for the conference, sign up for the PCSs prior to the conference. Submit your pages ahead of time. This will ensure the best results and make things run smoothly, and have a great PCS.
Yes, and show up on time. If your PCS is at a certain time, don't wait until the last minute to start running over to where you need to be, because otherwise you're going to lose a little piece of your time as well.
Yeah, the conference is large and we do have carts everywhere, but if you're in the 6300 building and you have to come back to 5400, that's a 5 to 10 minute walk depending on how you stroll. You can also do things like, if there's a cart there, because we have like 6 carts going all the time, you can say to the cart driver, I have a PCS at 12. Can you be back here at 11:50 to get me? And more than likely they will show up, unless it's me, because then I just get there.
So in other words, also depending on how you roll.
So Megan said, be sure to ask at the conference if their extra time slots are opening for PCS, as many times our amazing staff will add extra time for attendees. I said that in the beginning, Megan, or Megan, thank you. I read her name Megan, and that's not her name. Anyway, so yeah, so if you go up to PCS, I'll say this again, and you want to see Eldonna, and Eldonna's full, find me and say, I really wanted to talk to Eldonna about ABC. Then one of the things is all the staff has to sit at different tables at lunch, so you can sit. I'll take you and say, Eldonna, Colleen wants to talk to you, and you can do kind of a mini PCS or work out a time to change emails and do that later. Megan says, I blame my parents for the pronunciation and spelling of my name. You should. It's always the thing with me.
I did the same.
I'm fine if it's not. Yeah, it's fine if it's not written down, but if I see it, my mind goes the other way. And then, so what else do we need to talk about PCSs? Did we get everything?
I like to remind people, just be nice to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, you know. Go in there with an open mind and know that we really, really want to help. And that we were in your same shoes. We were in your same shoes. I know everything that's going on in your head. I know all that self-talk and that tape that plays, whether it's I'm an imposter, I'm not a good writer, whatever. I still do that. I'm working on my 4th book, and I'm still terrified of that page.
My favorite story is one year I picked up Ann Perry from the airport, was driving her to the conference, and Ann Perry has had 75 New York Times bestseller. So 75 different books on the bestseller list. Literally anything she writes goes bestseller. She does
Gold.
2 books a year. Huh?
Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm driving her and I said, "Anne, how's the new book coming? How's the work in progress going?" She says, "It's rubbish." I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "It's absolute rubbish. No one will read this." I'm like, "But 75 times you've been on the New York Times bestseller list." And she goes, "Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to read any of them." So it goes all the way up the food chain.
It really, really does. It really does. Cannot emphasize that enough.
So he said, "Don't be afraid, Megan." I should have just put her on here. Megan says, "Don't be afraid to sign up for PCS with a local writer, a Hollywood screenwriter, whomever. They're all welcome and approachable and happy to meet and help with you." They all really are. Like I said, the people that are either too shy, because we do have some staff that's too shy, they've opted out of them. But like Jonathan Mayberry is the most famous person we're going to know. I've been saying this for 2 years, but he's sold all of his books. One series of book called V Wars, Netflix bought, and then all of his Rotten Ruin books, Sony bought, and they bought the rights to make a TV, a movie, and a game out of it. Now he's also been put on as executive director on all V Wars. So now he's helping guide the thing. So pretty soon you're going to be so excited that you're like, Jonathan Morris, but in 3 weeks you can sit down and have a PCS with him. And if you're writing anything that's horror or paranormal, he's the guy to go to, because he edits like 7 or 8 anthologies a year, so he's always looking for stories. Is that your dog?
That was my dog.
Eldonna just got a new dog. Say hi, Eldonna's new dog.
Look
Where's
up.
he at? There she is. There she is.
Hi, puppy. Oh, hi, puppy.
Oh, look at her look for everybody.
You just got her yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was an accident.
Nobody accidentally gets a dog.
I know.
They're
That's my
angels
story.
sent down to you. Yeah. So, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have anything to say? Dove, Megan?
Is Colleen still there?
I'm still here.
Yay, there she is.
Hey,
Yes,
hey.
I'm gonna, since there's only 5 of us, I'm gonna unmute you guys so you can talk.
All right. I'm gonna grab my glasses that I dropped.
And so what I'm gonna do is I'll turn this into a YouTube link, and so you'll be able to share it and send it and listen to it again. But basically, it's, the link is in the notes. So go there as soon as possible. The link and all of the stuff we've talked about is also on the most current email blast that you got for us. At this point, we're doing pretty targeted email blasts just to the people who've already registered.
Mm-hmm.
We're also doing a blast trying to get other people to come. So if you get one and you're like, wait, I already registered, just disregard it. But they have really good information. So there's a PCS one that just came out. And then about a week before the conference, we'll do a mass email to everybody that's registered, telling you where to park and reiterating the PCSs and going through all the frequently asked questions again. Is she coming up?
See if
I
I
have
can.
3.
Hi, puppy.
Aw.
Hi. Oh. Oh.
Look,
Boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Girl.
yeah, that's awesome. Everybody, I have 3 cats that are circling my feet because it's dinner time and I'm ignoring them.
And they're going to be climbing up on your lap to tell you, Mom.
Exactly.
It's that time.
3 cats and 1 dog.
Well,
All right, everybody. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that when you spend all this time in front of the computer, for me, the dog is an excuse too, just to get off my butt and go for a walk.
Yeah.
We're having yoga at the conference.
I know,
right?
we're having yoga.
I love it.
Yay.
Exciting. So yeah, because a lot of us don't move enough. including me. I moved from the computer to the wine. That's my big leap for the day.
I'm
You haven't told me yet whether it's red or white or a blend.
Red, like my hair.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we will see you at the conference. If you haven't signed up, it's Central Coast Writers Conference. .com, and yeah, come meet Eldonna, meet all of our fabulous stuff, and bring me wine. No,
And bring her wine. And there are no stupid questions.
no, there are no dumb questions. Thank you, Eldonna.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see
Bye.
you in 3 weeks.
Yay!
Yeah.